Blackstatic boy. I'm just messing around. Thanks for tuning in. As always, if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, I suggest going back to my first video to understand better what I'm all about. Now that that is all said and out of the way, I'm going to get to today's topic, which is police brutality. It was actually hard for me to sit down and talk about this because police brutality is so devastating, to be honest. And talking about it gets me and a lot of other African Americans really angry. There's so much to say on this topic and so much that hasn't been said, so I don't even know where to really start. I don't know if you heard recently, but Jesse Williams, the Grey's Anatomy actor, was on the BET Awards, and he made a fantastic speech about the Black Lives Matter movement and police brutality in general. I guess one thing that I would like to address is his point about people criticizing the black community, but failing to acknowledge our context. I've talked to white people about police brutality, and it just amazes me how they really don't get it. You know, they'll say, oh, well, if so-and-so wasn't resisting, then he wouldn't have been shot. Or, if so-and-so doesn't have anything to hide, why did he run? Yet for all those people that say, stop resisting, you do realize that resisting death is an involuntary action for every living being, right? If someone is choking you to death and you tell him or her that you cannot breathe, you are going to try to get them off, period. That's not resisting arrest, it's survival. Eric Garner was killed for what? For selling cigarettes to a friend? That's fucking hilarious. A man can get choked to death over some cigarettes and nothing gets done, but heaven forbid a fucking gorilla gets put down. Oh, white American can get up in arms over that shit. And this isn't even considering people who didn't have a chance to supposedly resist. People like Tamir Rice, John Crawford, Andy Lopez, just to name a few. And the craziest thing is that John Crawford was shot in Ohio, which is an open carry state. There are videos on YouTube of white men walking around airports and schools with fully automatic weapons, and the worst they receive is a stern lecture. Like, I know we had, mass shootings that involve kids and children, and this is an airport which you really shouldn't have a fully automatic weapon at an airport anyways, considering 9/11 other terroristic acts. But yeah, could you just, put it away? But a black man walks into a fucking Walmart and they immediately shoot him to death because he's holding a BB gun that he picked up that he was going to buy? What the fuck? You cannot say that there isn't a double standard. It's interesting how with almost every police case, they say, oh, we warned him to put down the gun and he didn't obey orders. I'm sorry, how do you tell someone, especially a kid, to put down a gun within 3 seconds of taking his life? Oh, I'm sorry, 2 seconds? If any of you police apologists are listening, please enlighten me on how you expect a child to react within 2 seconds of you yelling, put the gun down 3 times. It's disgusting. Black kids get the death penalty for being kids, but us blacks aren't supposed to get mad about that? And then you have racists who say, well, blacks shouldn't run from the police if they have nothing to hide. Let's talk about Khalif Browder. Khalif was a 16-year-old kid who got accused of stealing a backpack. He never had a trial, never was found guilty, but he spent 3 years at a New York City jail being tortured by the guards there. He spent 3 years in a jail over a fucking book bag, and he didn't even steal the damn thing. The prosecutors accused him of a crime, threw him in jail, and never gave him a trial. And they were quick to offer him a plea deal if he pleaded guilty, but what happened to his constitutional right to a speedy trial? Yeah, we still have that. So, for all you Second Amendment, fanatics, like, oh, don't take away our guns, and I'm all for, making sure that we have our amendments, but yeah, we have other amendments too, and you need to stop, just supporting the amendments that support your cause. Back to Khalif, it's funny how the prosecution couldn't get off their lazy asses and watch the video evidence that proved he wasn't the person who stole the book bag. They had video evidence that showed that he wasn't the person who took the book bag, and they let him sit in jail for 3 years. And then they let him go like, oh, well, it sucks to be you. And you know what happened to Khalif? He killed himself. Being in jail took so much from him that he couldn't survive when he got out. And his story is the one that really pisses me off the most because it's a perfect example of how fucked up the justice system is towards blacks. And let's get to another aspect of police brutality that I see no one talking about. There are cases that even police apologists cannot excuse. These are the cases where the officer was tried, found guilty, and convicted. The problem is that after all the hype dies down, these cops suddenly start getting their sentences shortened and their charges reduced. And that's bullshit. In the Peter Lane case, he was convicted of manslaughter by a jury. That was his crime. Open and shut case. He killed an unarmed, innocent man and then called his union rep while the man bled out in the stairwell. So tell me why the judge reduces Lang's charges to only negligent homicide? Because Lang was remorseful? Please. Manslaughter was what he got convicted with. You got all these racists screaming about how we blacks need to just let the justice system do its thing, but when we listen to that bullshit, we don't get the justice we deserve. So yeah, the black community has a lot of resentment towards police. And I understand that not every black man being arrested is being victimized, but white people and other races, you need to understand that it does happen more frequently than you would like to admit. Black people can't just take it to the courts because that costs time, money, and perfect evidence. In order for there to actually be equality in America's justice system, there needs to be police officers that are held responsible for their actions, not excused and babied. It's as simple as that. There needs to be no more double standards, no more let's approach a black 12-year-old aggressively while leaving that white man alone, no more let's throw a black kid in jail for 20 years for smoking weed while a drunk kid kills 4 people with his car and gets nothing. No more, oh, let's send a cop's indictment to the jury so he'll be more likely to get acquitted. No more of any of that bullshit. Then we can say the justice system is fair.